from our manufacturer's perspective, it's also very interesting. We have various interesting points that we would like to share with you today. So yeah, as Tina said, please ask questions, be interactive. We will be happy to share our views and show you how it looks like in Revit, which is the second part of our webinar. For now, let me say a few words about myself. My name is Katarzyna. I'm with Ruukki for almost 3 years, so time flies. My position is BIM and Design Development Manager. I'm an experienced architect. I worked in various projects. That's why it gives me kind of an outsider perspective in Ruukki, which is valuable, I think. In my free time, I love painting, drawing, and also trekking in the mountains, which helps a lot to clear the head. Haroldas. Oh, we can't hear you, Haroldas.
Oh, sorry, forgot this one. Yeah, so thank you, Kasia. And again, I will also like to welcome you all today to our webinar who joined. One more thing I would like to ask is, as Tina said, your feedback and is really important to us. So maybe in the beginning, if you have any comments about the webinar itself, the length or the theme or anything, it would help us to improve next time. But yeah, so thank you for joining us today. Shortly about myself, so I have a master's degree in construction management, but at heart I'm an engineer. So I started in Ruukki about 7 years ago now. Started as a designer engineer, moved to cladding project manager, and then became a pre-sales manager. So all this transition through all these positions that I mentioned, I think gives me a quite good perspective on how BIM influences all construction parties. I mean, from architects, designers to project managers to construction companies and so on. After work, if it's not too cloudy or not middle of the summer when the sun goes down in the midnight, I like to do some amateur astrophotography. If that's not possible due to the clouds, I like to take a hike in the forest or just cycle around the city. But yeah, we're not here to listen about our hobbies, so let's move on to the presentation and let's start easy with some general knowledge and what is BIM. I think there are plenty of understandings and interpretations of BIM, but we all know that the acronym itself stands for Building Information Modeling, as defined by the ISO 19650. BIM is a use of shared digital representation of built asset to facilitate design, construction, and operation processes to form a reliable basis for decisions. It seems like a quite good description, but still, as we look at this picture in the slide, we can see that BIM complexity is quite bigger. And well, to explain a little bit about this picture, this was taken from a study that was analyzing more than 700 articles regarding BIM. And so the bigger the knots on the drawing, the more frequent it was used in, and the closer to the central knot, the BIM knot, it is, the more related it is to the BIM. So if we look at the closest circle, we can see that all the main, I would call, ingredients of BIM are still very important. So we have 3D modeling, information technology, framework, and management, which are the basis of BIM. But also, what is interesting that more and more in relationship to BIM, there are mentioned of artificial reality, virtual reality, digital twins, and so on and so on. So you can see it's really complex thing, and it's just one small description in some standard doesn't clear everything up. Moving forward, I think BIM, building information modeling in general, is revolutionized the architectural engineering and construction industry in general. If we take a little bit more in-depth view to the previously mentioned standard, it also defines BIM as a digital representation of physical and functional characteristics of an asset, which can be used for decision making throughout the project's life cycle. As I said, BIM as a whole refers to the process of all parties involved in the construction and life cycle management of this project, working collaboratively and sharing the data. However, sharing the data is not everything. In my opinion, the whole power of BIM is in the I. I mean, the information, and all of the information gathered through conception to completion of the project is stored, but it's not only stored, it's also actionable. I mean, a good BIM model can include part and material based information as well as financial, procurement, and logistical information. And all of this can be used to improve accuracy, improve knowledge sharing, and know, reduce change orders or provide insights into existing projects, renovation needs, or so on. So, general, as I said, the most important thing is not just to store the information, but also use it and act on it. Moving forward, I think everybody here that came here to listen today to this webinar agrees that BIM is really important, but still somehow we do not fully adopt it in our daily work. And well, from my point of view, there is this thing of habits and fast-moving construction market. Forming new habits is always not easy, and when you have deadlines over your head, you will stick to your old ways, which is in your comfort zone. You know it will definitely work. So the transition is tough. But if we take a look at this graph on the slide, we can see that the BIM workflow is actually more effective than this traditional workflow. I mean, this red dotted line that represents BIM workflow is pushed to the detailed design phase where you can make changes, and those changes actually don't cost that much. While the standard approach, let's say, is again a little bit more to the right, which you have less ability to impact the changes of the project, and those changes again cost quite more. So yeah, it's quite obvious, but as I said, the old habits die hard. So hopefully we'll still transition fluently. While preparing for this webinar, me and Kasia actually looked through the region and tried to find out a little bit more how it works in the surrounding countries that Ruukki is basically working. First thing we checked is actually the softwares that are most used. And as you can see in this map, Revit and Archicad are the most popular softwares for architectural design. The popularity of these softwares may vary in different countries, but they are top two and with no competition. As for constructional design, Tekla is number one in most countries, and well, again, no competition there. And so for these two, at least Revit and ArchiCAD, we actually prepared our models and our libraries as top priority, which Kasia will introduce to you later. But not only software is important, also what is important is regulations. And also we checked and tried to see what's going on in all these countries. So yeah, we found out that actually currently, not all countries currently have some kinds of regulations. But what is clear that the roadmaps and plans and discussions have been going on for quite some time in all the countries. And Here in the slide, you can see a few examples from Baltics and Finland. So Finland actually from 2025 have a regulation that they will store all the projects in BIM. Estonia took a little bit different approach. It's more of a voluntary approach that you can get the construction permit from this January already by uploading the BIM. Lithuania from 2022 agreed that all government-funded projects will have to be in BIM, and Latvians from next year will start implementing BIM in third group of buildings, which, as I understand, is quite a wide spectrum of buildings, including public buildings, warehouses, production buildings, and so on. So, yeah, it's quite a lot of buildings. Moving forward, so yeah, I mentioned that not all countries have regulations, and there is no common BIM concept applicable in all countries. And each region adapts the BIM methodology, and for structuring and managing the construction process, taking into account national construction regulations, standards, but the common logic and principles are similar in all countries. Uh, even though in previous slide we did not mention some of the countries in Scandinavia and Central Europe, but what we actually found out is that even without regulations in those countries, BIM is quite a lot in front. And in my opinion, this is driven by private sector. And when you look at that, if something in the market is driven by the private sector without any regulations, then I think it is the best way, because the private sector sees the need of these new regulations, and they just take it on themselves. But the downside of that is that if there are no regulations, then there are no basis for standards and guidelines. Now those countries have company-based requirements and guidelines, but again, there is no general view on the whole thing coming from the government. So I think from my side this is all. And Katarzyna, do you have anything to add on what I just told?
Well, I think you've put it quite nicely. Can you see me? Because I have
Yeah,
some technical difficulties, sorry, today.
yeah, no problem.
I think you summarized it quite well. BIM structures how we design, how do we lead construction. It's available. It's a way of open sharing in construction industry where you have many parties. It allows you to be more transparent and have the workflow even better. So yeah, and I think, of course, regulations are helpful because they harmonize the way that we deliver specific information, but guidelines also give an opportunity to the countries where BIM is not so developed to step in and try. So, yeah.
Yep, exactly.
And well, now we are moving to the next section, which is news and trends in BIM. And me and Harold, as we gathered some interesting topics from the industry, which are constantly present and more than ever visible. So starting from the rising power of data. Harold has already said that BIM lives with an eye. Information is everywhere. Information is being carried through most of the areas of our lives. So why not in construction industry? Before, BIM was perceived, in my opinion, more as a geometric representation, fun to design in 3D. Right now, it goes into the direction where information is the key, where information carries the most weight of the construction process. I've seen projects which were built on the information without any drawings. I've even had my share in creating IFC, which did not begin with the drawing, but with the text, with the simple text. So it's interesting to see where the future leads us. And yeah, if we can say so, information is so simple, right? It's just plain text, plain word, right? We overcomplicated things at times, and now we come back to the simplicity. So it's really interesting. Next one, it's something that I would say it's a flag topic for BIM, which is open sharing. I know many environments, and believe me, the environment of BIM enthusiast is the most open, the most willing to share and compare experiences than any other.
Seems like we lost Kasia due to technical problems. So I guess, yeah, let's move forward, and we'll see when Kasia comes back. She will continue about her topics. But yeah, moving forward, we have also one of the biggest trends, I think, not only in construction, but generally that exploded through the last year, I think, is artificial intelligence. And as much as it touches all areas of our daily life, it will touch also construction and BIM. And as much as we discuss it, for me, it was interesting to find out what's artificial intelligence idea on how it can influence BIM itself. So I asked the main free open platforms, so ChatGPT, Google's Gemini, and Microsoft's Copilot, how do they think they can influence, and what are the 5 most important areas that the artificial intelligence will influence BIM in the upcoming years? So in the table, you can see their answers, which I would agree with the most of them. But basically, if we would generalize how artificial intelligence will improve, well, general construction industry, we should mention definitely data analysis, which it is capable of doing vast amounts in a blink of an eye. Also, these labor-intense design works that can be automated. And I think also in the near future, it will be quite useful in building operations and by preventing risks, by providing informations for faster decisions. So yeah, artificial intelligence is definitely here, and it's definitely going to stay and will change the way we work. And moving forward, I ended up with this facility management and how artificial intelligence, sorry, will improve it. And yeah, implementing real-time monitoring in systems in buildings is actually a transformative move towards smarter, more efficient, and sustainable operations. If we would point out, I know, main focus areas why facility management with real-time monitoring is important, and I would say at least energy efficiency as one of the main reasons. Risk prevention, again, as mentioned with the artificial intelligence help, can be really decreased all the risks. Uh, Security enhancement, and then basically, from my point of view, it all comes down together to sustainability. From general energy consumption, what I mentioned in the beginning of the slide, and to people well-being inside the building. So it all comes down to this general sustainability. But anyways, all that I have mentioned, including artificial intelligence, facility management, it is not possible if BIM is not fully adopted in our project. without the information, without the structure of managing this information and general guidelines for managing these projects, it would be not that effective. So I don't know, Kasia, do you have anything to add? Should we jump back to the open IFC
Well,
slide?
I think it all combines, everything combines. So as you just said, facility management is not possible if we don't have fully adopted methodology in our project. So
Mm,
every piece has to work in order to create a whole, right?
yeah,
So it's like with this open sharing. If we have one system, which is in BIM methodology, CD, if we have one system which carries all the data, it's easier then to move it to the facility management system and make it work. Otherwise, it would not be possible, or it would be like partially functioning, but then
yep,
multiple risks. Yeah,
yeah.
and
So
I actually regarding this facility management, I have seen interesting article on BYM about the dam over the river, that some cracks were found in its structure, and how it's being monitored in order to find a solution early enough to prevent the catastrophe. So it's interesting how we can utilize BIM not only in speeding up the construction process, but also save lives or save environment. Quite a huge area to
yeah,
have.
exactly. I think
Mhm.
I fully agree with you. Not only, well, this is with the cracks on the dam is very good example, but let's say in our constant lives during winter, we have snow loads on roofs appearing, and currently it was like just a human going on the roof and checking the thickness of it and do we need to clean it off or not. So it's it worked since now, but again, this is also time consuming, and the risk prevention is way better when you install some strain gouges or something like that to detect it and inform you as soon as possible.
Exactly. Mhm.
Yeah, so moving forward with the trends in BIM, another thing is prefabrication and modular construction. So those two have become increasingly significant in building design and construction management. And most important improvements that those two bring to construction market is, first of all, first thing that I could think about is construction time. Refabrication is definitely the way to go, and it'll decrease. And what I noticed actually preparing for this webinar, reading some articles, and well, more than 2/3 of respondents in different articles said that they saw a positive decrease in construction time, in the whole project time, I would say. Uh, with the decrease in time also comes a decrease in cost. So the cost, I mean, not only materials and construction labor itself, but also architects, designers, and all the management. Another area that prefabrication and modular construction is, I would say, winning is quality and safety. It's, I would say, it's no competition when we try to compare on-site building and in-house production. You can manage risks, you can manage quality way better during the prefabrication processes. And of course, again, sustainability. Sustainability is an important topic today, and you can find it everywhere as well here in prefabrication. As we use materials only that we need, we can plan the deliveries, we can plan the materials very accurately, and so it's, yeah. I don't know, Kasia, anything to add about sustainability
Yeah,
in prefabrication?
yeah. I think prefabrication it means like speeding up, setting up standards at the very beginning and keep those standards and quality. And that for me is one of the domains of sustainability, because then we are able to plan our production more carefully, more smartly. We save energy, we save a lot of things. Especially, we care also about people's safety. So yeah, I guess those two collide at some point.
Mm.
And as we
Exactly.
know, sustainability is everywhere, right? It's the hot
Yep.
topic of the construction industry for the past years, and it will be even more important. It will have even bigger importance in the upcoming years. I'm participating in the high-level construction forum in EU, and I encourage you to attend those webinars as well, because they share a lot of data about what is to come. So there are new regulations related to CO2 emissions, and they really carefully analyze how specific elements of a building influence on the carbon footprint of the whole investment. So everything is in planning, and we should be ready when the time comes. And on the slide, you can see two pictures. So we wanted to show how different companies approach sustainability, and how many calculators right now allow you to have a closer look on your investment, whether it's in the A, B, C, or D energy class. It allows to calculate carbon footprint, which will be in some regulations in the upcoming years as a mandatory information. Rumble recently presented this database on web, and it's quite interesting because it's a very dynamic data set which shows information from the construction all over Europe. Mostly they focused on Scandinavia and West right now, but it's a nice way of sharing transparent data about how our buildings are being built, renovated, so we can compare how it looks like in specific countries depending on the type. If it will not be, these reports have two sides. So if someone wants to show off their great parameters, they will, but some developers do not have sustainability in their first priorities. So then those investments won't be visible probably in those kind of reports. But still, I think it's a nice set of guidelines for us, how the world is changing and what do we put attention on. So yeah, and we as Ruukki, we also change into more sustainable company. So follow us for more. We will have webinars focusing on this topic as well. It's good to follow. Yeah, and Tina, I think we reached the time where we start our Revit workshop. And since we are experiencing some technical difficulties today, let me first check if it's possible to share it right now. If not, Tina, maybe it would be possible to have a 5-minute break to set up all the systems. How do you think?
Well,
Yes, absolutely. It's possible to have a break, and then we can, of course, send the recording afterwards for participants if that's another alternative. Let's try how it goes now. Let's come back. Okay.
Can you see my
perfect.
screen?
Yes, we can. It's perfect. Thanks, Kasia.
Okay. I was a bit stressed, because we had some difficulties from the very beginning today. So yeah, I'm really glad we reached this point. So Revit workshop. Let me start from the very beginning. We have libraries in Revit, in Archicad, and in Tekla soon. It will be available at the end of this quarter, so not very long to wait. We changed how our libraries work in the last 2 years, so we are eager to show it to you, and please give us feedback if something could be improved, or would you like to see another direction. We are open to any suggestions. Okay, so to reach our BIM libraries, we just simply need to go to the Ruukki website. Then we go to the building envelope site and services and support. Here you can find different types of portfolio products, but underneath each one of them, you can see BIM objects. And when you click, you will land on this page, which will lead you to Prodlib. This is BIM library platform, which has different manufacturers in the system. We are present there for a lot, like 10 years, I think, already. And we change, we add new features. So it's interesting to grow with the platform together. So when we reach Prodlib, we have two options. We can download right here our libraries, or we can download Prodlib. And I know that third-party installing, it's not for everyone. You don't trust the different brand that you didn't know before, but this one is really worth it. If you will download it, here you can choose Mac or Windows. You will receive a desktop application, which you can use without any software at all. Or you can have an add-in inside of Revit. So that will show in the top ribbon as another category. And here you will see different brands. So starting from our Ruukki envelopes, we want to show you around how it looks like. Sorry, it will be a bit more slow when sharing.
And we lost Kasia. Just give us a minute. I think she should come back soon. See that we don't have any questions, just an interesting discussion in the chat is going on about whether it's more work or less in prefabrication. Interesting pointers here. Well, maybe I would agree with Giedrius. It might be so that the design stages takes a little bit more time, but again, modular construction is generally talking less time consuming. Maybe in the design room, yes, it is slower and well, it needs more attention to details. Just to mention again, as Tina mentioned, if you have any questions, just write them in the box, in the chat box. So we will see. Also, if you'll see something interesting during this workshop and just want to have a chat or discuss something more in the end, we'll give out our contacts as well, so you can find us on LinkedIn and just contact us, or via email, however it's more comfortable for you. So
Hello.
Kasia is back.
I'm all the time here. I don't know what's happening. Like, yeah, I'm out and in. But I heard what you did. Nice answering questions. Wait a second. I will be back with my screen. Yeah, it's just this luck, you know, when you have something important and yeah. Anyway, I hope that you can see my screen. If there will be too many breaks in this workshop, we will record it as a whole and then share it with you, so you wouldn't have those chit-chat talks, but only technical stuff. Okay, so we land on the first page of Ruukki envelopes. This is the clue where we have everything. So we have different categories. We have also linked to our roofing products, so we can check them out as well. And we have details available here as well. We have different language versions. For now, only available English and Polish, but we will be adding those in time. And if you are working in a specific region on a project which is in a specific country and you have to line up with the regulations, with the products availability, then you can click here, filter content through the market, and check the country that you are interested in. Otherwise, it will show a global portfolio available for everyone. So here we have sandwich panels. Let me show you around. So we go down with the navigation, we check panels that we are interested in. First, I encourage you to go to the website, pick a panel that you are interested in, then it's easier to move around and find the one that you are interested in. So let's say that we will take NSPB 200 energy. Here you can see all the specs. So coefficients, data related to air tightness, etc. More information is in the model itself. So we will see that in a minute. Here we can change the module of the panel, so the height. And here we can change the external and internal facing thickness. Lower down, we have colors available for this model. Let's say we will mark this very extravagant color. Oh my gosh. Something is not right. Sorry, guys. If that will not work here, I have prepared a model that we can use later on. Sorry. Okay. We are not scared. Let's again make a configuration and let's see if that will work. Today I'm experiencing some difficulties with the system, so maybe that's the reason why some of the features are not working. I checked it this morning. It was really okay, so let's see. So as you can see, we are checking the thickness of the external and internal steel facing. Let's pick different color. Okay, so this click meeting sharing was in a way. Here we can change the profiling and then coating. So let's say it will be linear and linear. And here on the right-hand side, you have different types of families. So depending on the needs, basically, if you are in a very early conceptual phase, basic wall will be enough. So basic wall is just a simple wall that carries all the data within. Curtain wall simple is the gold here. This is the model that has all the panels already divided. And we have also beams, which is a simple element that we can utilize when we need to create more complicated structure or we need more details. While I think that BIM focused on a super detailed geometry in the past years, now I think, as I said, information is the key. So we are not focusing too much on the detailed geometry. That's why our families are so simple, and they are very easy to use and light, which is important. Lower down, you can see sections for each model height. So if you want to create a nice section of a building, if you want to create a nice detail and you need steel bending and locks of the sandwich panels, then you can insert it directly to Revit on a section or on a detailed view. Lower down, we can also install ArchiCAD. It will not, of course, be inserted into Revit as in case of the rest of the files, but you can install it if you use Graphisoft. You can install it on your computer, and then the full package will be available when you open the program. So yeah, that's quite convenient. And as I said, later in the upcoming months, we will release also Tekla with its own plugin, so it will be also an upgrade from what we had until now. Okay, so now I will show you how our libraries work, what do they mean, and how do we recommend using those. So basic wall is very basic. As you can see, it's the most basic family in the whole Revit. We've put all the data inside, so you can have your specification on the fly. If you want to get rid of it, then you just go to the Manage Project Parameters and then delete those parameters. So it's easy to get rid of those. But if you need to make a quick specification, it's very helpful. I will delete this one for now. Beams. As said, they are used mostly when you need to have more detailed geometry. So it's all modeled here. And the difference is that you have to model it one by one. So in order to create a full facade, you have to have a system. So copying them up, or if you have some another idea, then it's up to you. Actually, in Revit, you have at least 3 different ways to do the same thing. So, the only thing that you cannot do with the beams is that you cannot make an opening that will go through 2 or more panels. So when creating an opening, we need to use a specific family called void, which will allow us to cut in the panel. For that reason, we know how architect's world is dynamic. How many revisions do we have? How many times the building change before it gets finalized? So we created libraries that should allow you to have freedom, have elasticity, and help you with the design. So let's go to the site view. Oh, that's not nice. Let's create similar wall right here. Yeah, just a short element. Let's align it properly. Yes. And when we go to 3D again, sometimes, yeah. Okay, so the reason why sometimes you cannot click on something you want is that many elements are combined in this carton wall. So in order to find an element that interests you, you have to move your mouse over the model and click Tab as many times as you reach the desired element. So I wanted to do this. Okay, so now we have a wall, but as you can see, it does not match the grid line of the construction behind. If we want to do that, we click on the carton wall, we go to Edit Type, and we just free our vertical grid to click None. Yes. And now maybe let's go to the elevation. Let's go to the, I hope you can't see the car alarm in the background. Okay, as you can see, it's quite easy to move the vertical grid. We can do the same, going to architecture, carton grid, and we can cut through all segments here. Yeah. Okay, and if you have specific structure of the carton grid, if you want to cut only through 2 panels or something like that, then you need to use this once again. 1 segment cut, then it's allowed to cut through 1 panel. As you can see, Probably my line is a little bit off axis. So let's see if I can fix that one. Sorry. Okay. Let's see, sometimes model is not in the most accurate position, and it doesn't allow us to create the most static structure, you know, vertical and horizontal. That's why sometimes it's good to change the project to north, right? In this case, I did that. So let's see if I can fix it just by clicking on a line. Now it should be okay. Let's just move. The one of the upsides of the curtain wall is that it snaps to the element in the central part. So sometimes we have to operate with it a bit more. But then the upside is that we have a whole facade already. It's very easy also to manipulate the boundary. So if we say that we have a slight slope here in the top, it happens for big storage warehouse buildings. Then we just apply the new boundary, and those panels will be in the schedule as well. So as you can see, it's easy. Maybe I could also show you, because for most architects, openings are quite a pain, right? And in this case, it's also very easy. That was one of our key points to fix that one for you. So let's change the transparency on the curtain panels so we could see the back. Here is the construction for windows, right? So let's see, I prepared some window that could resemble the shape. And let's see how that looks like in 3D. Super easy, right? If we want to copy, I mean, it's the same. Sorry, I'm not being very accurate right now. But as you can see, there is no problem in putting openings. Same goes for some very custom ones. So if we would like to have an opening that goes through the panel and it's for the ventilation duct or something, then it's easy to have it. Sometimes when we cut panels in a way that we don't, for example, yeah, let me show you. What's the difference? So this opening is in the middle of the panel. So it's clear that we have a full panel on site, no problem. But what if we would have a situation like that? Let's say, yeah, more accurate. Then panel, oh, not accurate at all, sorry. I should do that on the elevation. Then the panel itself would be shorter in the schedule itself. So it's quite easy to manipulate those openings. It was not very smart of me, so forgive me. I made an opening in the middle of construction column, but let's say that was intentional. All right, so we do have our panels. What about the schedule? So in the upcoming months, we are going to also share predefined schedules for you, so you don't have to think about how to what kind of parameters do we need for a specification. It will be all ready for you in the schedule. So as you can see, the schedule is a bit scattered, but we don't worry about that. Sorry. As you can see, for some panels, we do see the parameters, for some of them don't. And the reason for that is that we delivered all parameters. If we go to the carton panel, we delivered all parameters in the instance level. So we don't see it in the type. That's why if you produce new panels, and that's what I did by changing the height of the wall. If you produce new panels, you have to take care of this data as well. So it's up to you to fill all the fields in those panels. You can, of course, do it simultaneously. So we can RAL 505. If you will configure your wall, we definitely suggest to keep the original panel from the configuration, because then we will have the original data. Right now we don't have it because I deleted the previous Cricut wall, but I can show you how to quickly fix that one. Okay, let's say we keep those. Let's change those thicknesses. And if I will copy it in our project, all data will be here. So as you can see, when you are configuring your panel, all the data is there, but then you have to apply it also for other panels in the view. Okay, so that's why in our panel schedule we have some of the data and some of the data is missing. But we wanted to leave that freedom to the user, because it happens very often that in the corners we need bigger thickness of the steel. Sometimes we have two color facade. So we want to let user to choose those properties manually in order to have more aware design. Okay. I don't know, Harold, are there any questions at this point?
I wanted to see how the opening works, but you showed it already. So,
Oh, sorry.
From the audience, it's only one question: if we
Yes.
have any plans supporting users of Allplan by Nemets check, perhaps.
In another development, for sure, yes. We are now focusing on Tekla. But yeah, it would be interesting. Nemeczek is quite a big player on the market, so yeah, definitely. Why not?
Also, another question is regarding the quantities. So, in the case that you showed with the sloping parapet, does it
Yes,
include a full panel or it's just the wall area?
it includes full panel, but we have to add some kind of comment, and it's good to add mark, which could serve as a comment. So then you could write down that it has to be cut on site. But yeah, it includes a full panel.
Generally, it is how we delivered panels.
Mm-hmm.
It's not cut to the slope, but you have to cut it on site, and so the quantities already include
Exactly
the whole panel.
Yeah.
So that's the same, I think, as for windows as well. As here in the example, the window is in the middle of the panel, but still we would receive the whole panel.
Exactly. That's why I wanted to show this difference. If we would have more time, I would focus a bit more on sandwich panels, but I wanted also to show you quickly how our new tool is working. I know that we have only 3 minutes, but Tina, if I have your permission, I would like to go through Traypan to Revit and show it to the users. We can have another webinar only about this topic.
Yes, sure. I will not cut it. I think we have reserved 1 hour and people might drop out, but yeah, please continue.
Okay, it will be quite quick. For those of you who know Traypan, our design tool, it's concentrated on the web. You have to put manually all the data in order to calculate the strength of this sandwich panel wall. This is a great tool. It has all the information related to our panel, so other companies cannot use this one. But we created Traypan to Revit, so BIM edition. And now we are at the end of testing phase. We would like to invite you, if you are interested, to test it with us and to propose improvements, because we thrive on your feedback, actually. So the premise is very simple. We click on Analyze the curtain wall with Traypan. We select the wall, we click Finish. We have all the data here, all the spans, all the information related to colors. If not, we can change it on the fly. We go to parameters. We can use, let's say, Estonian annex related to temperatures. I checked before that we have 300 width of the construction. So we go to loads. Let's say that our building is amongst village and suburban terrain. We calculate wind load. Of course, we can edit those, but yeah. And we go to analysis. That way, Traypan analyzes if our wall has been designed properly. It takes a bit more time, sorry. Again. Sorry, I wanted to show it to you, but again, some error happened. Sorry for that. Yeah, we need to definitely have another webinar about this tool. But anyway, if the calculation would be finalized here, we would see some red spots and green spots, and the data would be moved to Traypan Online. And that's the topic that I would like to cover with Traypan specialists who built the tool and who know all about it, and who could explain to you how to calculate wind loads, for example. So many interesting things to cover. Sorry for this very fast failure, but I hope that you like this sneak peek.
Yeah, sure. One question.
Yes.
Do we have a date when we plan to release this Traypan for Ruukki, for public?
It should be available in May, but the official launch is still not agreed. But it will be available to the users from May.
And yeah, of course, as Kasia mentioned, again, if anyone wants to have their feedback and participate in our beta testing, so just you can always contact us, and we would really like to hear your opinions.
Yeah, and I would like to apologize for all the technical difficulties that we had today. We will try to get rid of them the next time.
Yeah, there's one more thing to add in the beginning. I don't know if anybody noticed, but this was our episode 1 of BIM Forward webinar series. So it definitely will be more. So keep an eye on our social medias. You will definitely get the newsletters if you subscribe to them. But yeah, you can find our contacts here. If you have any comments, if you have any feedback, please write us, and we really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Haroldas and Kasia. And we are now ending this webinar. And as said, we will take a look at the recording that it looks something that we want to share. If not, we will improve it here and send it to you anyway later on. So thanks for participation and have a very good rest of the week.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you.